Hey everyone, welcome back to Strategically Small. I hope you're doing well. We're still in lockdown here, so just keeping busy and trying to keep positive, all right? So in the next few videos, I'm going to be walking you through some research online in a few different countries on the continent that are showcasing small spaces, okay? And I do want to focus on this not only because I want to focus on the numbers and compare them against what you could get in the US, but we also want to look at a variety of options, not just focus the attention only on one country, because I'm not trying to convince you to move to Rwanda or anything like that. There are several countries here in Africa, 54 to be exact, and you have a lot of options, okay? Now, unfortunately, the inventory is not very available in most countries online, but I will walk you through a few countries where I can find a few things that I think are interesting to show you. Now, before we get started, I do want to make a note that I've gotten the comment several times like, oh, you're single, so downsizing to a studio space is not too much of a difficulty for you because you don't have a spouse and you don't have any children, right? And I completely disagree with that sentiment, okay? If I were married and if I were married with children, I would be doing the exact same thing because the focus here is on financial freedom, okay? And it makes sense financially to downsize, all right? If you pay attention to what's happening in the US, there are a lot of families that are moving out of these larger homes and they are moving into tiny homes that are under 500 square feet. And these are families that have 2 kids, 3 kids. You can make it work. It's up to you whether or not you want to do this, right? And I 100% agree with anyone who makes that move because financially they're escaping their mortgage. They're buying most likely these tiny homes. They're buying them cash. And even if they're not buying them cash, whatever their mortgage payment is on the tiny home is a fraction of the price of what they would be paying for a standard home, right? So I just want you to keep that in mind. I don't want you to discount yourself from downsizing into tiny living simply because you're married or you have kids. Anything can work, any situation can work, especially depending on how you design your space or what type of space you get, right? So for example, the space that I'm in, you can see behind me, it's a very narrow space. So this type of space would not be suitable for a family, but you can easily get a tiny home that has multiple spaces, multiple levels. So maybe the top level is where the children would sleep. The bottom level is where you and your spouse would sleep. And that would be also the living, kitchen, dining room area on the downstairs level. So there are lots of options out there because the movement is becoming very popular and people want to become financially free, especially with COVID. They've noticed that, listen, I can lose my job at any time. Any point in time, your job could be gone if you're not running your own business. And even if you're running your own business, you could be hit hard financially with COVID or any other difficulties that come along. So you want to make sure that you're considering all the options and not discounting just based on, oh, I have a larger family, so this is not something that I can do. I do not agree with that. It's something that you definitely can do. It's just up to you whether or not you would like to make it happen. So I just wanted to make that general point that downsizing is beneficial for everyone, okay? It's not just for single people that do not have children. It is for everyone. Why? Because it makes sense financially, okay? Financially. So what I want to do is I will start today with Kenya because Kenya has such a wide variety of studio options online. And I'll just give you an example. The price range that I'm going to try to stick to is going to be roughly between 40 and 50,000 when I'm doing the research online. But let's just say I've already looked on there. There's several below 40. So even if we can get a studio for 40,000, then you would just pay your realtor's fees. I would also pay for an attorney, so you pay for attorney's fees. And then you want to calculate how much appliances would be, maybe roughly $2,000 or $2,500 US, that could easily put you, let's say a rough number, at $45,000 total. Okay, now if you compare $45,000 to what you would be paying in the US, it is significantly different. That is usually what you would be paying as a down payment on a home in the US, depending on, you know, what size home and how expensive you're buying, right? Let's say in the US, if you're buying a $400,000 home or a $500,000 home, $40,000 easily could be your down payment, right? So I want to just show you these options in several different countries, because there are 54 countries in Africa, and I'm not trying to sway you towards Rwanda or any other one country. I'm just trying to show you the options that are available on the continent, because what you'd be paying on the continent is totally different from what you would be paying in the US, okay? So I'm just presenting you with the options. I hope that you find it very helpful. But I'm gonna do the walkthrough on the website in the next clips, and then I'll come back at the end and we'll summarize. But I'm very excited, especially when I look at what I can see online in Kenya. Unfortunately, a lot of inventory is not available online in a lot of other countries, including Rwanda. But Kenya, because it's a much bigger country, and Nairobi in particular is a much bigger city, studios are popping over there. It is amazing. If you don't want to get a studio, you can get a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, but these smaller spaces are becoming highly popular. And if you do not want to come and pay cash, then you can also research financing, which I'll show you. They have a little tool on the website where you can do you know, how much your down payment is and then your interest rate, and they will calculate your estimated monthly payment, which I think is great. Now remember, in Africa, if you're going to be looking into financing, it will be double digits, okay? It's going to be over 10%, and most likely they will require 20 or 30% down to as a down payment to get started on your loan, okay? So you want to keep those things in mind. In Rwanda, for example, the average interest rate here, I think, is 16 to 18% is what the average is, and they do require, most banks require 30% down payment. All right, so you want to keep that in mind. But when the price, for example, is so low, if you're looking at 40,000, then you know, it's not as bad, but the interest rates here are quite high, so you do want to keep that in mind. All right, so let's head into the clips, and then I'll come back at the end and give you my final thoughts. All right. All right, guys, so first we want to start with getting the price range that we're looking for. So here I'm typing in 50,000 because that's what we want to do. And as you can see, we want to be like below 5 million. That's the exchange for Kenya. All right, so we're going to head over to the website now. And I just typed in studio apartments for Nairobi, and I'm going to sort the site up here by pricing lowest to highest, so that we can just take a look at that to begin with. All right, so as you can see here, remember, we're below 5 million is what we're looking at. So all of these options are available. As you can see, it started at 1 million. Now we're in 2 million. Let's take a look at this one, studio apartment. Just take a look at some of these pictures here. A lot of these are still under construction. They're in development, so they will not have some inside pictures. So this one does not look like it is done yet. Oh, actually it says ready for occupation. So yeah, I wonder why they don't have any more inside pictures. So this is not one I would consider. Not enough pictures if it's already done. So we're gonna move on to another one here. And as you can see, these are some renderings, but I like how they have this laid out with the bed, and then they have a divider, and then the couch. And then they have 3 different types of layouts, which is pretty good. And I'm assuming this one is still under construction. So you can see here the sizing is pretty small. So you want to look at all this information here. If you go down to the bottom, this is the tool I was telling you about if you want financing. So you can move this little scroll over so that if you have a down payment, you can make it a little bit less for your mortgage.
And then I'm just going to type in this number here to see what our monthly payment would be. And as you can see, it's not much, under 300 right there. So that's your monthly payment, and that's pretty decent even if you're going to do the financing. All right, now that was with a slight down payment. All right, let's continue on the website and see. They have so many options here. Now this next one is one that I was going to go take a look at if I were headed over to Kenya. I think that it looks very good. It's in a good area. And I just like how they have it laid out. So this is one I would definitely check out. This is $3,500,000, well below the price range that we're looking for. And we can look at all the amenities here. It looks like they have a lot of nice things. And if you go over here and you type in 3,500,000 just to get the exact number, you could see that's definitely right there at around 33,000, which is very, that's very good, especially for new construction, very affordable. And let's scroll down a little bit more to see what they have here. And as you can see, the plethora of options in Kenya, it is absolutely amazing. I really feel like they have gotten ahead of a lot of the other African nations when it comes to downsizing and small living. And I really respect that. Here is another beautiful option here. This is in Lavington, another good area. And these pictures are looking very nice. So this is another one that I would definitely check out. And the pricing here is $4 million. Okay, so that's still well under what we're looking for. So you want to kind of scroll down again to go to, you can play with this calculator at the bottom if you would like. And as you can see, even if you finance 100%, that $45,113, you can see your payment is still under $500 a month. So this is very reasonable. I really like the options here, and this is all new construction, so you shouldn't have any maintenance worries, anything like that. And the good thing about these studio style apartments in Kenya is that normally there are no condo fees like you would have in the US. You know, in the US, you have condo fees that are usually a couple $100 a month, which I really don't like. Here, if there is a condo fee, it's going to be something very minimal, normally under $40 a month. Okay. Here's another one for $4 million. And I just want to show you here. So if you pay cash, you get a reduced price at 3.5. Okay. Now, if you're going to finance, you look at the next paragraph. It tells you the details there. So some developers will help you with financing. Others give you a discount if you pay cash. I always say if you're going to pay cash, you should always get a discount. Negotiate that up front with your realtor and have your lawyer put that in the contract. You can check out the amenities here. It looks very nice. And again, this is the same price, $45,113, which is still the well under 500. So this is definitely one that I would check out if I were in Nairobi. I mean, there's just so many options, obviously. I would be running all over the place looking at all these studios because I find that they're so reasonable in price. So this is what is most attractive to me. And I really like that they have so much inventory online. Now, I'm going to just play with some of the numbers here for the financing at the bottom. If you move it down, then if you put more down payment, your payment is going to be less for that month. So for each month, I should say, sorry. So as you can see here, if you put in that number, your payment is under $400 a month. And this is something that I always encourage people to do. You want to use these calculators to just see what your pricing could be. If you put more money down, that would help you with your monthly payments. But I really like this particular development. I think it's something that would be a very viable option. All right, so we're going to continue looking. These ones look all the same. So let's just take a look at one of them. And the layout looks interesting. You're able to fit a bed and a couch there. So the square footage seems to be pretty decent. and this looks like it's new construction. So this is another one that may be a good option to check out. This is in Kileleshwa, another good area, and the pictures look pretty decent. Okay, so if you scroll down, you can see all of the amenities. Only one left, so there's probably a rush on this one. But yeah, that's another good option. I'm just typing in the price here. Yeah, still under 40,000. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm telling you guys, the pricing here in Kenya, they are on it. This is literally always has been my backup option is Kenya, because I love Kenya anyway. But yeah, the amount of studios here has grown tremendously since I left in 2014. So I'm very keen on seeing how this is developing. Here's another one in Kilimani. They have a couple of renderings here. The kitchen looks pretty decent size. Okay, the bedroom looks pretty good. So when you're on these sites, you kind of want to check out not only the pictures, but also all of the detailed information underneath so that you can get a sense as to what they're offering. Is it currently under construction? If it's not, when will they start construction? When is the completion date? All of that stuff, any additional features, if there's any property management, all of that you want to check out. All right, so yeah, this is what I would do if I were moving to Kenya and interested in downsizing into a small space. So I'm just walking you through the process, but I absolutely love it here. Now this one I wanted to show you in particular. You see the layout here, how they have the 2 beds lofted. This is something that you can do if you have a family, okay? These are good examples of the 2 kids could sleep on top. Then you and your husband can have some other bed that's underneath, but I like the lofted area down. This is for students, so I'm just showing you the renderings just so you can get a good idea because I like the setup here. But there's so many different ideas you can do with small homes. So do not feel restricted by the amount of space because there are several ways you can design it to make it more amenable to your family size, okay? And this one here is also a unique layout, how they have the bed and then the couch there. I like to look at different layouts so that you can also get a sense as to how you could style your own place. Now this would be at the top price. This is almost at 5 million. So this is close to 50,000 right here. So for me, I'm very hard on price. Anything that's over the price, I don't even look at it. It's just a waste of my time.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed just the little preview there of that website. First of all, I really appreciate the amount of information that is on that website. It gives you the square footage, it gives you most likely the completion date, the information for if you want to contact the developer. You can use the mortgage finance tool to see how much you would pay in mortgage if you're interested in that. I love that website. I think it's very thorough and you could use that as a starting point to just reach out to people if you're interested in Kenya. But as you could see, there are a lot of options that are under 50. That's where I started, was 50,000, and there are plenty of options under 40,000, which I love, okay? So yeah, the studio spaces are great. There was one that I showed you just to show you the design. It was a student hostel, but obviously you wouldn't be buying there. But I wanted you just to look at the design, how they had the 2 beds. So if you were a family, you could look into designing your space a little bit more creatively so that you can accommodate your family, all right? But as you know, I lived in Kenya for 4 years, so if things didn't work out here in Rwanda, I was going to head over there because there's so many available studios there. I just love the amount of inventory that is there. So yeah, definitely, I hope this served as some inspiration for you. I love looking at studio spaces. I could spend hours on that website just looking at the details and the pictures and all that. So I think the key here is research, okay? So over the next couple of videos, I'll be touching on different countries and we'll look at what's available in those specific countries, and then that could be maybe a starting point for you if you're looking to move back to the continent. All right, now the key here, remember, is financial freedom. That's why we're doing the research, okay? Yes, you can get a tiny home in the US. However, tiny homes in the US, they have lot rent that you have to pay, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. If you, let's say you buy a tiny house for $70,000 or $80,000 cash, you have to park that tiny home in a mobile home development or a tiny home development. And in either of those scenarios, you have to pay what is called lot rent. And lot rent on average in the US is normally $500 a month, and that would cover your utilities, it would cover trash pickup, common areas, it would cover all of those type of things. So you want to keep that in mind, and usually it doesn't cover all utilities. You would probably still have to pay for your Wi-Fi separately. It would probably just pay for your water and sewer, and I don't even know if it pays for your electric. So you would have to look into those details, right? It is significantly cheaper to downsize on the continent because you're eliminating that lot rent fee, which is a significant fee. At least in my opinion, $500 a month is not cheap. That's very expensive. So if you could just downsize on the continent, even if you finance, right? You saw when we ran the numbers, it was easily under $300 a month, even if you financed 100%, okay? So that already is cheaper than the lot rent that you'd be paying in the US alone, okay? And guys, keep in mind that studio spaces in the US are significantly more expensive than studio spaces in Africa, especially if you're living in certain states, okay? So for example, more expensive states like California, New York, these type of areas, Massachusetts, Boston, studio spaces will be easily between maybe $300,000 to $500,000 just for a small studio space like mine, okay? Versus if you're in Africa, what you could, as you just saw, what you could pay for a studio space. Now, of course, if you're in the deep down south, maybe somewhere in Alabama, somewhere like that, where it is much cheaper, maybe you could get something that's comparable to what you would pay in Africa. But in general, for the majority of states in the US, studio spaces are still very expensive compared to what you would be paying here in Africa. So I just wanted to make that comparison just so that you can keep that in mind. I want these videos to be very informational, and I hope that you gain some information from them as we go along. All right, stay safe, and the lockdown is supposed to be over in 2 days. I don't know if they're going to extend it, but of course I will keep you updated. All right, so I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.